Good morning and happy Monday. Welcome. Excuse me. I am Ryan from the Benzinga Pro team, along with Jonathan Mallard. Welcome. We have an example today for you on unusual options using the Benzinga Pro platform. So, Jonathan, I just put my foot in my mouth. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. It was a slow start, but I'm about 4 cups of coffee deep. So here I am, and we do have some really good content here. So I was actually reviewing one of your webinars, Ryan, from a
Mm-hmm.
couple months ago. I think it was in February, and that is still on our help site. It's a great webinar on how to find unusual options and use them with one of our power users, Sunny. So you can find that on a whole bunch of other webinar content at pro.benzinga.help. But I was thinking, this is 2 months old. What can we show our viewers that's a little more fresh and in real time here? So I think it'll be great to show some of the filters on the unusual options activity calendar and find those significant trades.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And just as a reminder, for Sonny, the power user that you spoke of, remember he was just like everyone else, right? He was just a client of Benzinga Pro. He reached out to me one day and he's like, Ryan, I found a way to turn this into a lucrative strategy. I said, let's do a webinar, and the rest is history. So he is actually a moderator in the options chat room within Pro. So if you ever want to discuss unusual options trades, maybe ask for some help, go on in there and get involved, as we like to say. Definitely some helpful content in there. So, all right, I went ahead and shared my screen here, and I pulled up the unusual options calendar, Jonathan, and then I've applied the filters that you use. So I think we should walk our viewers through the filters that we set here.
Yeah, absolutely. And just as a quick reminder, there's actually 13 different calendars within this tool. So you would click on that drop down menu and then choose unusual options activity at the bottom to get to this particular calendar. Then we have the columns and filters buttons on the right side of the tool. They're kind of sneaky. They're hidden over there sometimes, but you just click on filters to apply the filters right there. And you'll see that we have 4 different filters applied to highlight particularly interesting options. And in this case, we're starting with option price. Now, some of you might not care about the option price, but I wanted to narrow it down a little bit. So I said greater than $1 per contract and less than $5 per contract. And so, it depends on your trading plan, but I just wanted to narrow it down a little bit today. And then next up is trade count. If we scroll down a little bit, we'll see trade count. Now, if you're not familiar with trade count, that is the number of routes that have to be used to execute a trade. So it's so big that they have to use multiple routes to get that filled. And in this case, it's more than 25 routes or exchanges. And this can just mean they had to give more effort to get this trade executed. And that's also the definition of a sweep. If they had to use more than one route, then automatically it's going to be what we call a sweep trade. Next up is possibly the most important, which is total trade price. And in this case, I wanted anything around 100 grand or higher. So I just said greater than 99,000 on that one trade. And then the last one is volume over open interest, where we use anything greater than 0.1. So this one order is at least 1/10 of all the open contracts, or compared to all of the currently open contracts. Then once we had all this set, we just clicked on the symbol column on the far left-hand side, and that orders it by the symbol. So then we can see if there are any duplicate orders here. And that's what the webinar really focused on, was looking for duplicate large orders within a short time frame that could indicate a very strong sentiment in this situation. And the first thing that popped out at me was LFMD. And you can see with the last trade column there that these 2 orders, both greater than $100,000, were executed within about 1 minute of each other. And if we click on that symbol, we can see that there was quite a sizable drop out of the open here, and it continued to go down. after this trade was executed. So we go to the 1 minute chart, and then we just see, all right, what was going on at 9:36 and 9:37. And so you can see there's been quite a bit of movement since that point in time. And these were $10 calls that they were selling. So it looks like they made a decent chunk of change since that was executed.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good spot here, Jonathan. And I think that this is one of the things that often gets overlooked when we talk about the calendar. And I really, really appreciate you highlighting this today. We'll come back to this chart if we need it. But one of the things that Sonny discussed in his strategy is repeat detections, right? And the thought process here is that when a trade starts to work, a trader then hammers the trade that works again. And that's exactly what you have here. So I'm really glad. I also really like the way that you organize this, Jonathan. I think that this flows really well in terms of consuming this data. Obviously, there's a lot of data here, so you want to make it, you want to cut out the noise, only focus on what's important to you, and be able to take that data in. So you can see here that this second trade actually happened not even a minute later, just under a minute later. So really, really soon after. Both big trades, a big total trade price, meeting really all of the criteria that you have here, and then of course the reaction is exactly what you see. So what I think one of the things that's cool here is this would be one thing if we saw someone, selling a whole bunch of calls last week, right? We wouldn't really have any confirmation of the move. They might have had some inside information, or they might have had some type of knowledge to say, I think that this is going to go down next week. What we're seeing here is a trade that took place today, right? This took place right after the market opened. And what's even more interesting is that if you take a look at the chart, if you come into LFMD, or actually let's first take a look at the news here. Looks like we had some record revenue. So it's really strange as to, and it looks like we had earnings numbers. So the thought process here, at least for me, from trying to determine what's going on here is, okay, we had earnings numbers. It popped in the pre-market, but we really kind of sold that as soon as the market opened. And in fact, those 10 calls that you were talking about, this trade took place right when this stock was around $10. We've often discussed round numbers and the psychological aspect that it has. We really broke beneath that. The stock tried to bounce and retest 10, but failed, and it continues to sell off. So this I have no idea how long the trader had hoped to hold these. Obviously, the expiration goes out till August 20th here, but really a clean break here, a new trade, repeat detections. Excellent job using the calendar to identify this potential opportunity.
And I think on the webinar, we were talking mostly about bullish call trades, but if you were going to follow this bearish call trade, we talked about waiting for it to come back in, right? So versus trying to jump on the gun right away. If there are these large orders taking place, then sometimes that can inflate the premium. And I think we're talking about a little bit of a slower play as well versus using a 1 minute chart or scalping options. But still, what did we see there? We saw the initial fall down, and then it came back up and tested that same level, which if you were using that mindset, that would be a great entry point. When
Exactly.
you see it go back up, it tries to test that level and it reverses back down. Boom. I'm trying not to swear here online, but go ahead and execute that baby.
Well, yeah, no, and that's a really good point, Jonathan. And I think that, again, we've talked a lot about patience with a Y, right? Patience. This can actually serve as a confirmation, right? So if you see this take place live, you can say, oh boy, option paper flowing in on LFMD, looks really weak. As soon as it starts to not be able to break 10 and starts to break back down, that's your entry signal. That's your confirmation that, hey, this trade is working. There's still more downside to go. I mean, we're down $1.45 from $10 from that retest, right? It seems like this is working out great, and you can spot this literally, 2 minutes after the open. You could have been alerted to this.
Just out of curiosity, what does the day chart look like there? I'm just kind of curious
So
because, all right, interesting.
So here's the thing. So we're back down to levels that we saw right around the end of the year. Now in late January, we really kind of ran up here, and we had quite the big run here. It looks like whatever that catalyst was not strong enough to continue driving us forward. And now we've retraced this move, right? So we had one big gap down, then a big sell off. We tried to bounce, much like we tried to do intraday today. It failed, and here we are back down here. I mean, realistically, looking at this, considering what's taken place here, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking our next move is to 6. So it makes complete sense that the 10 calls in that case being sold here. So looks like we actually still have some more room to go here. Full disclosure, I'm not in this trade. I was busy at the opening, but this is an excellent spot, Jonathan. Great job today.
Cool, thanks. And then we do have IPWR from the chat here. Thanks, Jaspreet. IPWR, I'm not really sure what's going on with Ideal Power, but we just wanted to take a quick look. It looks, if that chart looked kind of choppy with possibly low volume.
Yeah, so day chart here, really, really poor. First of all, I didn't see any news here in the news tab. It's quite possible that there's some type of rumor being circulated or there's some type of chatter on Twitter. I'm not familiar with that. But to be quite honest with you, I don't even need that, right? If we take a look here, this trend is bad. Unless this is the winter and you and I are trying to go sledding, Jonathan, I don't want to be on this slope at all. I don't want to be any part of that. And furthermore, now that we've actually come back in, we actually gapped up 3 times. We've now retraced all 3 of those gaps. 1 right here, 2 right here, and 3 right here. And we are back down at this level here. I suppose if perhaps this was mentioned because you want to take this trade for a bounce. That's all you. I don't see anything in here to tell us that we're bouncing. We are an extremely low volume. Sellers seem to be in complete control of this stock. I'd actually wait for at least another $1 here before we try bouncing off this. Remember, we want the sentiment to change here. Right now, the sentiment on Ideal Power, not good, to say the least.
The trend is your friend. Don't fight the trend.
That's correct. And in some cases, when the trend isn't your friend, don't try to make it your friend, right? Because if you're fighting it, that could be painful. The market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent.
All right. Thanks for joining us today, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with another Benzinga Pro showcase.
Thanks a lot, guys. Time for a Newsdesk update with Benzinga's self-proclaimed Newsmaster General, Steve Krause. I mean, you're self-proclaimed, right?
I feel like it's an earned title at this point.
Oh no, your camera froze, but I heard you.
Yeah, I'm getting a little lag.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. That's weird.
Oh, hold on. Let me leave and come back.
Get your face off the screen. All right, let's see if Steve can come back. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty earned. I mean, Steve is more of a news junkie than probably anybody maybe almost anybody at Benzinga. So yeah, I think it's fair to call Steve the Newsmaster General. He's earned that title. We've got a few headlines here to discuss. I've got my pro open on the screen. Let's wait for Steve to hop back in and tell us what's on his radar. Here, let's go to my details widget. Here he is. Steve, you're back with us?
Streamlabs crashed. Crashing my browser. I don't know what happened.
That's weird. All right, we got you back now.
I'm back. All right. So where'd you start? Where were you at?
I didn't start anywhere. I think I got nowhere.
Okay. Well, that's because you need me, Spence. I love talking to you every morning because we get to go over some of the big stuff every weekend. I can't wait to do this in the office with you when we can. But for now, let's get to it. So,
all right, what's on your radar?
So first of all, we had, it's an unfortunate trend, something we saw several years ago, and something that seems to be increasing, which is I don't know the best way to put this. We've seen some mass shootings over this weekend, right? So some shooting events. We saw some last week. We saw 2. I think it was 2 yesterday at least. And it's been an increasing trend, unfortunately. So the things to watch out for that are, so obviously you can play the gun stocks, right? But the big ones to watch are tickers DGLY, Digital Ally, and WRAP, Wrap Technology. These are these are police devices. Are they supply police departments for anti-personnel, restraining technology that are not firearms, basically. Wrap Technology has this Bola Wrap, and Digital Ally supplies cameras, basically, police cams, body cams. So these are up today also on the Derek Chauvin trial. The prosecutors are set to rest their case today. Okay. So, that is, these stocks tend to move, A, in response to mass shooting events, and B, in response to mass protest events.
What about Axon? Also, AXON.
Yep, Axon was another one. Although the entire market moved down today, so it's likely Axon may not be moving in concert with them. Wrap and DGLY are the big ones. Axon's more of a newer one that sometimes moves with them, but not as much.
Yeah, and for those who are newer to the markets, the last year was so weird. We didn't really have any major mass shootings because everybody was stuck at home for a year, right? But prior to last year, prior to the pandemic, when in instances where there were mass shootings, the market's initial reaction was usually to buy up gun stocks and buy up stocks like Digital Ally and Axon and Wrap, because the implication was that every mass shooting would move us closer to regulation, and people would want to buy their guns before that happened. Now, obviously, there's a lot of assumptions baked into that. That have never come to fruition, but the market's initial assumption has always been, oh God, there's going to be a regulation. I got to go buy my gun now, or people are going to think I got to go buy my gun now. Therefore, gun sales are going to go up. Therefore, I'm going to buy the stock today. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Wrap and Digital Ally move in almost the exact for the exact opposite reason, but for the same reason, right? It's well, we are having more violence, which means we are going to need more supplies for police, which means that these things, police are going to need more tools to respond, basically. And also, the more police, last year, Digital Ally and Wrap actually did move. So we didn't see mass shooting events, but we did see large amounts of protest events, and we saw a high amount of police killings last year, which Digital Ally and Wrap move higher on police killings because, the people want non-lethal solutions, basically, for police, police departments.
If you look at the chart, you can even see when did these pop? It was last summer.
It was
at the height of all those protests.
It was the height of Black Lives Matter. It was George Floyd, and it was which is a reminder. Again, this has been a weird year. It's hard to remember a lot of things that have happened, but the Black Lives Matter protest was the largest organized protest in American history. It's hard to remember that now, right? Almost a year out from it, but it had a large impact on the market and on the country. And it's clear to see. Yeah, look at that chart. Look at that.
Yep. So anyway, clear trade this morning, at least in these two, both reacting to the news over the weekend. What else are you watching?
Well, we had in some more hopeful news. Please. We had, oh my gosh, do you like space, Spencer?
Do I like space? I own the UFO, baby. Yeah,
space. Excellent. So did you watch the footage of this Mars drone yet?
No.
It's pretty awesome. So for the first time, NASA flew a manned, or I don't know what the proper term to call it, but basically they flew an aircraft on another planet. They flew a drone for a few seconds at least on Mars today. It's incredible. It's we're going to see, space is moving forward. UAVS did not move on it from what I saw, but, I expect to see more stuff like this. I haven't checked the Kathy Wood's space ETF either, which is ARC-X. Can you check that right now?
Probably down. Let's see.
Yeah, it's probably.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the entire market, kind of slipped. Yeah. And speaking of slippage, I know you. I don't I know you mentioned Bitcoin on the pre-market prep, but there was like an $8,000 drop this weekend, apparently being attributed to a blackout in China.
I saw a $10,000 drop.
I mean, at least 8,000. Yeah. I mean, it was a large drop, apparently being attributed to a power outage in China.
Man, I saw power outage. I saw U.S. regulation. There was the Turkey thing from last week. Man, this just underscores, like, we don't always know why a stock is moving. A lot of times it's just the market doing the market like things. But with Bitcoin, it's that exponentially. We never know ever. I am loath to ever assign a reason why Bitcoin is up or down, because for all we know, it's just like huge whales making moves. Like,
it's
no one has any idea.
Yeah, it's a lot of times when stocks are up or when stocks are down, it's people, taking profits. That happens quite often. That's a very normal thing of, why is the stock down? Because it's been doing so well, right? Mm-hmm. Bitcoin's the same reason. I mean, it's been hitting all-time highs every week, this year. And now that sharp drop is just literally because the mining situations dropped. There was a power outage in a large mining region in China, and literally the supply of Bitcoin lowered, or it's like it's kind of funny. It's almost reverse. When oil fields get on fire, get attacked, crude goes higher because supply and demand
down. Yeah,
right. But the thing is, the demand in Bitcoin is so high, and the mining just needs to continue, basically, right? Like, that's really the thing. Is Bitcoin is continuing higher because mining is continuing.
Yep. Great point.
What else do we have? Oh yeah, we have some legal news out of the UK with Nvidia, ticker NVDA. So the UK is attempting to block their acquisition of ARM, which is was ARM. What company did they was Baba ARM, or is that something else? Am I thinking of something else?
No, that's something else.
Okay. So Nvidia was acquiring microchip manufacturer ARM. And the UK government is basically halting it, for usual big M&A reasons. It's a $40 billion M&A that's now on pause. And that's something to watch throughout the week, basically, getting some more updates on that. NVIDIA, of course, came out with a response saying that, in no way that this is, harmful to the market or anti-competitive, but how these things go. So another big tech M&A legal battle to watch out for.
Europe's always been more heavy-handed with their antitrust regulation.
Correct.
In the U.S., we just kind of we let things slide.
What was the big M&A during the Trump administration that was blocked? Was that
oh God?
It was the telecom one, right? It was AT&T and.
Oh, I don't remember.
I can't remember, but for the last 4 years we've had pretty much wild west.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Chat, help. What was the big M&A? It's been 17 years since that happened. But basically, I mean, that was the last big M&A. That was basically.
Wait. 18 was it T-Mobile? Was it AT&T? T-Mobile?
Yeah, it was AT&T T-Mobile, and it was blocked. Yeah. So that's the last big M&A in the US that's been blocked for legal reasons. But we'll see how Europe handles it. They've been cracking down antitrust in general, and we'll see. Nvidia is not really the usual target for this kind of stuff. It's usually Google, Facebook, Amazon. So that'll be an interesting one to watch.
All right, so it's down 2%. Overall market's down 0.5%, so it's underperforming. Then again, most stocks are down today.
There was a big move lower in the S&P and markets in general. Crude moved lower, Bitcoin moved lower, everything moved lower. We're still not 100% sure exactly what that reason is. Where the news desk is on it and looking into it. But
you want to just really like where they hit hardest. It was the Qs. The tech.
Look at that.
Yeah, the tech. I mean, the S&P held up. Actually, no, I take that back. The Qs on the Russell actually look at the IWM. The Russell really fell hard.
Yeah, look at that
at the open. So, hey, small caps, higher beta. win big, lose big on small cap.
Yep. Now that move also lower was around 10 o'clock. Actually, it wasn't at the open. It was about 30 minutes after the open.
Pretty much for the entirety of the morning.
Sure. But the move in the S&P was like, if you look at, it's like 10 on the dot and it's lower.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so Nvidia's lower. I definitely on that blocking of M&A news.
Okay, what else?
So you said we had some earnings this morning, apparently.
Oh yeah. I don't even.
I mean, the big ones, obviously, Hog and Coke. You guys covered those earlier this morning.
How is her? Oh man, Hog's actually holding its gains. I'm a little bit surprised.
Yep, and Coke's doing well, I believe.
Hog had good guidance. Coke is stodgy. Coke doesn't really move that much. If you look at daily Coke, look at a weekly. Coke is just so stodgy. Like if I just zoom out for the last 4 years, it's basically, last March notwithstanding, it's basically between 40 and 60.
Yes, that's very true.
Stodgiest stock. Harley Davidson moves a little bit more. They had good guidance. Wow, look at this Harley Davidson chart. So it is back. It is above where it was pre-COVID. Damn. Zoom out.
Yep.
Zoom out longer though, and this trend is not your friend. But they don't care. They're buying motorcycles. Jeez.
People are buying them. Yeah.
I guess. I want to know if anyone in chat owns Hog, either the stock or a product. I don't. I'm curious though because this was a stock that we dogged for a very long time on pre-market prep, and it's come back a good ways.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, it seems like it's coming back.
I don't know why. All right, Steve, anything more before we wrap up?
The last thing was President Biden tweeted out today that all Americans are now eligible to get the vaccine across the board. So, expect the vaccine rollout to continue.
Okay, I got my J&J and I'm growing a tail. Everything is fine.
Yep, I'm waiting for my Sputnik to come in the mail. I cannot wait.
All right. Wait, I don't get that reference.
Sputnik is the Russian vaccine.
Oh yeah, that's right. They named it Sputnik. I forgot.
They named it Sputnik, and they came out with their efficacy today. Do you know that it's 97% effective? It's better than the Pfizer. So, dude, screw Pfizer.
Man, these Russians, they're good.
I'm going straight for the Sputnik. Give it to me. I don't even need my second Pfizer. I'm going for the Sputnik.
You don't have a choice. They gave it to you whether you want it or not.
Well, I'm ordering it.
All right, guys, smash the like for Steve Krause. Benzinga.
Smash it. Subscribe. What are you doing if you're not subscribed? Come on.
I don't know. Subscribe to Benzinga. Subscribe to Benzinga Clips, our new Clips channel.
The more you subscribe, I'll come on more.
Yeah, we want that. Steve, I think we're doing a gaming stream this Friday. Maybe that up. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. I'm there.
All right. That's a wrap. SPAX Attack is up now. Steve, thanks a lot.
Good luck, everyone.